we've had two relatively quick knockouts in the first two fights on the card. So neither Orlando Salido nor Orlando Cruz were perfectly ready to come into the ring at the moment at which Lomachenko was able to put Ramirez away. They need more time to warm up and get themselves ready. There's Orlando Salido, one of the real hard-nosed veterans of the sport. There's Orlando Cruz, and there you see, if you're a fight fan who's been following the web this week, those are the trunks that created some controversy in Puerto Rico, because having announced a year ago that he is, quote, a proud gay man and becoming the first major fighter in this sport to come out during his career, he chose to wear these trunks, which start with a Puerto Rican flag and then alter it slightly with the rainbow colors, and that created some backlash in his native Puerto Rico. And we spoke to him yesterday about that subject in our fighter meeting.
18 years of age, I noticed my sexuality. I was going to the Olympics in 2000 in Sydney, Australia, but I had my girlfriends at the time, and so I thought that maybe it was just a phase, that it would pass. You know, I couldn't have an attraction for the same sex. After that, I searched out for some psychological help for me to accept myself and bring out everything from within, and to truly feel what I felt. I was hiding. I was representing something that I wasn't. I was representing a life that it wasn't the one that I wanted for myself. What I truly wanted was to be happy. And then after that, once I uncovered everything and I stepped out of the closet, if you will, I saw life in a different view. I felt relieved. I felt free. And the people, I thought that they would reject me. I thought that they would ignore me. Because thinking of my people in Puerto Rico, it's a society that doesn't really accept gay marriage, but they supported me. And that made me very happy. They respected me, and they saw me not as a gay man, but as an athlete. That I have the passion for the sport, and I have love for the sport that requires so much sacrifice. And it's what I want to do. I want to be big, and I want to be a world champion.
Grande, quiero ser campeón mundial.
Max Kellerman, he repeatedly said to us that he believes by coming out of the closet, he's given himself a chance to be more relaxed as an athlete, both in and out of the ring. On the other hand, he set himself apart. He stamped himself with a certain label. Has he put a kind of institutional pressure on himself that might make things more difficult?
It's a great story, and he did a brave thing. But in fact, I get the sense that we all want this to be a bigger story than it actually is. And maybe that's partly because he's been a good but not top flight fighter in his career so far. And maybe it's also partly because we're all more enlightened, I feel. The mainstream kind of sentiment about this issue has become so enlightened that we are, in many respects, where we want to be. This is not a big deal.
So let's leave that story behind and go to the reality of the fight, Roy. Cruz is a technical defender. We often see that in the southpaw breed. Salido's a right-handed fighter who has made a habit of beating southpaws with his straight right hand and his all-out aggressive style. How does the fight play out?
Well, the fight is going to be a rough fight for Cruz because he's the shorter fighter. Salido has that long right hand that he loves to use against the southpaws. So with that being said, he'll come out hoping to try. I know he's probably going to hope that he can knock Cruz out, because Cruz's two losses have both been by knockout. He ain't trying to beat him on decision. He wants to try to knock him out.
All right. That's what he did to Cruz's countryman, Juan Manuel Lopez, 2 times, derailing Lopez's bid to become the number 126-pound fighter in the world. Let's take a look at the tail of the tape now for Orlando Salido against Orlando Cruz. And you see that Salido is a veteran at 32 years old. He turned pro at 15. He has 12 losses on his record. He got the hardest kind of education you can get coming up as a fighter without any protection, without any particular support in Mexico. Cruz is also 32 years old, but the background's entirely different. He was a Puerto Rican Olympian, has had a very slow developing pro career. And you see the 2-inch height advantage for Salido. Arm length advantage of a ½ inch measured from the armpit to the end of the fist. They both weighed in at the official featherweight limit of 126 pounds. And tonight, Salido has rehydrated up to 140 as opposed to 135 for Cruz. That may be a slightly significant advantage for Salido, who is the offensive fighter of the two. And now here comes Orlando Cruz. He had the 2 knockout losses, as Roy Jones mentioned. He had a period of time off to recover both psychologically and physically from that. And since the comeback, 4-0 with 3 knockout victories.
Hopefully Cruz has in his mind that he wants to avenge the 2 losses by 1 mark to his kid Salido.
Knockout by the veteran Daniel Ponce de Leon, the Tarahumara Indian from Mexico, whom you've seen in quite a variety of big fights against top opponents. Ponce de Leon's calling card is punching power. Cruz got in the way of it in the wrong way. And now here comes Orlando Salido. And Max Kellerman, I mentioned the tough education that Salido got coming up in Mexico. In the latter stages of his career, he's used that education to full effect.
Yeah, you know what, to hear him say it, it's not that he was so determined to be a great fighter or anything. He just wanted to work and earn a living. But he was so good at fighting that even though he was losing, guys still wanted him for work in the gym. Fights still came his way. So it was actually his best option to make a living.
At one point as a teenager, he paid a coyote to bring him and his girlfriend into the United States. Since that time, it's been an ongoing story of redemption, and Orlando Salido is closing in now on becoming an American citizen. He has a permanent visa and is in position eventually to become a citizen here. Mexico against Puerto Rico. One of the proudest international traditions in boxing. Fighters from those 2 nationalities going against each other.
It's amazing that as small as Puerto Rico is, it can even be competitive with a boxing-rich tradition country like Mexico and the population Mexico has. Mexico's gotten the better of the rivalry, but that Puerto Rico's even competitive is amazing.
And you know the spectacular tradition there. Let's go to Michael Buffer for the official introductions on this one.
Ladies and gentlemen, by way of Wynn Las Vegas, the action still continues here at the Thomas and Mack Center, Las Vegas, Nevada, USA. This is our special attraction, the co-featured bout of the evening, presented to you by Bob Arum's Top Rank Boxing, along with All-Star Boxing, and sponsored by Tecate Con Carácter, Wingstop, the wing experts, and Balue Casa de Bolsa. At ringside, the 3 judges scoring this bout will be Ed Kugler, Jerry Roth, and Glenn Trowbridge. And inside the ring, in charge of the action at the bell, referee Kenny Bayless. And now, this contest is 12 rounds of boxing for the vacant WBO Featherweight Championship of the World. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing with pride the rainbow colors, official weight 125 pounds. His professional record, 20 victories, including 10 KOs, only 2 defeats with 1 draw. From Quintana, Puerto Rico, former IBA World Featherweight Champion, El Olímpico, Orlando, El Fenomeno Cruz. And fighting out of the red corner, wearing silver with blue, official weight 126 pounds. As a professional, 39 victories, including 27 knockouts, 12 defeats with 2 draws. Damas y caballeros de Ciudad Obregón, Sonora, Mexico, 2-time featherweight world champion Orlando Salido.
Okay, trunks are good on both sides. Punches that land on the belt will be considered low. Now, gentlemen, we went over the rules in the dressing room. I want to caution you to keep this fight clean at all times, protect yourself at all times, and what it say, you must obey. Good luck to both of you. Touch them up.
In case you just tuned in to this pay-per-view, Lomachenko, the two-time Olympic gold medalist, was sensational in his quasi-pro debut. He has 6 pro fights, but they're not counted by everyone as professional. And the winner of this fight is likely to be Lomachenko's next opponent, as they hope to maneuver him into a belt-winning situation.
Roy Jones, I couldn't help but notice that Orlando Cruz, during referee's instructions, refused to make eye contact with Orlando Salido. He was looking straight up into the lights during that whole period of time. I never see that as a good sign. What are your thoughts?
I think it's a wonderful sign. He's just trying to show that he's not going to let himself get mentally off track by staring at this guy and getting into a mano-to-mano thing when his plan is probably to box. He's a counter-puncher who loves to counter, who loves to sit back and wait. So why would he come out and get himself angry with Salido and go out there and attack him early and get caught with something big?
I see Floyd Mayweather at times avoid eye contact before a fight.
I guess it's not a bad thing then.
And once again, Floyd is another defensive guy who wants to counterpunch, so why look at the guy as though you're going to come out and be macho with him when you're not?
Live and learn. I've been covering boxing for 27 years, and I think I just learned something. Thank you for that.
When I was an amateur, Jim, I had a hard time looking at guys eye to eye because I immediately want to fight. If I look at you in your eyes for too long, I want to go ahead and throw the punch.
They had a hard time seeing you, period.
So if I came out there, I was definitely finna get this punch off.
Well, it makes all the sense in the world. Cruz wants to focus on his craft and on his plan for fighting the fight, not any emotional confrontation with a hard man, Orlando Salido.
A lot at stake for both fighters here, besides the Mexican-Puerto Rican rivalry. Cruz so far known best in his career as, the gay fighter, right? Here would be a signature career win for him against Salido. And Salido, for his part, coming off that devastating thrashing at the hands of Mikey Garcia. This is his first fight, significant fight since then. You need to show people that you still got something.
Cruz is looking like he's definitely sticking to his plan early. Very good defensively, very confident. Now we have to see what happens when either guy gets hit.
Salido, for his part, says the thrashing at the hands of Mikey Garcia was an off night. He had trouble making weight. Ironic, of course, Mikey Garcia had trouble making weight in his next fight. And Salido said, I'm not going to pay any attention to that. It has nothing to do with my overall capability.
He had trouble making contact. Forget about the weight for a second.
Mikey Garcia is a special fighter. 27 seconds left in round 1. Confrontation has been just as we thought it would be. Orlando Salido trying to penetrate Cruz with his offense. And Kenny Bayless says keep it up, as that was a clear low blow below the belt with the right hand by Orlando Salido.
Cup check.
Come on, champ, everything's good. Everything's good. The bottle, the water. Flex your waist, work your waist. Relax. Walk them a little bit the opposite way, all right? So it goes, all right? Relax. The opposite way. Like if you were right. Relax, relax. Careful with his hands because he wants to put that looping hand shot. All right? Move your head, relax and breathe. Relax, relax. Feel comfortable. All right, relax. The ring is big. Look for the ring. Look for the outside. Look for the middle of the ring.
He see a punch that was in the ballpark of being a low blow. Still might have been a little high on the hip for a low blow, but it didn't also seem to affect Cruz too bad. He just realized that it was lower than it should be.
CompuBox numbers in round 1. Salido was 7 out of 30. All power connects, 6 of them to the body. Cruz 8 landed punches in 36 thrown. At the end of the round, After having refused to make eye contact with Salido during referee's instructions, Cruz tried to stare down Salido as he went past him on his way back to the corner.
As though to say, yes, I fought my fight and now I got you.
Or perhaps to say, you're not going to bother me with a low blow?
That either.
Well, unlike the Mikey Garcia fight, which was in January of this year, Cruz is not the kind of puncher that Salido has to worry about rushing in on and getting, you know, his head rattled by something.
Cruz momentarily found himself in the corner where he didn't want to be. Grabbed and held Salido. Referee breaks him up. He's back in the center of the ring where he can move side to side, use his footwork and his boxing skills to try to blunt Salido's straight ahead offensive thrusts. Salido turns southpaw for the moment, trying to throw that right hand. Throws another punch below the belt line, and that's the second warning from Kenny Bayless already, with only a minute gone in the second round.
And the Mexican fans really don't like that.
Salido turned southpaw again and landed another shot right on the belt line, and Kenny Bayless came by saying, up, up, up.
I'm somewhat sympathetic with Salido there on that third one, because when the trunks are that high, if the belly button's not showing, then the waistband should be legal.
Oh, Salido just landed a big right hand and a big left hook to Cruz's head. But Cruz took it pretty good.
That said, Salido's belly button isn't showing either. Cruz should go right back down there. Good matchup so far in the sense that both guys are doing what they want to do. Cruz is countering and Salido's applying pressure.
Both looking a lot like their countrymen have represented in the past. Cruz being a cute boxer type guy with the smooth skills, smooth body movement, smooth leg work. Cruz being an attacking, aggressive guy like the Mexican fighters normally do, with the good body shots while he's coming. So I think it's looking like pretty much a great Mexican battle against a Puerto Rican. Oh, good hook.
Good right hand hook by Orlando Cruz. Well placed. Looking to land one shot at a time and then move away. Looking to frustrate Salido's constant desire for offense.
And they're fairly evenly matched so far, and they're both having moments of success doing what they want to do.
The only thing I don't like is that Cruz is moving his feet with his head a little too high.
Miguel Cotto was an Olympic teammate of Orlando Cruz on the Puerto Rican Olympic team in the year 2000. In fact, Cruz says that Cotto, Ivan Calderon, and he were, quote, like brothers at that time, and Miguel is here 1 week in the wake of his terrific destruction of Delvin Rodriguez of the Dominican Republic last week to root for his buddy Orlando Cruz.
Said Miguel Cotto is my brother. He must be the big brother you go get when the bully bothers you.
That's what it was last weekend.
Let your hands go. Let your hands go. You're waving too much. All right?
PC, Salido on the attack, landed the best punch he's landed all night. A short right hand, right on the chin that Cruz tricked pretty well. By far the best punch of the fight so far.
Power punches through the second round. Toledo is 22 out of 61 with 17 body connects. Cruz 9 out of 25 in the power punch category. Cruz with an advantage so far in the jabbing area, but Harold Letterman, as you see, has scored the first two rounds unofficially for Orlando Salido, who is making the fight, as we say.
It'll be interesting to see. You hear fighters from Muhammad Ali to most recently Ruslan Provodnikov. The face-off coming up after. Talk about how when they attach themselves to causes bigger than them, it makes them a better fighter. There's an old expression in boxing, the title can make you 50% better. I wonder if Cruz feels, now that he's attached to this cause, if it's made him a better fighter, if there's more to fight for, more on the line.
Well, certainly he wants to believe it. He's trying to express it in all of his conversations. Let's see what shows up in the ring. You talk about that old adage, the championship makes the fighter better. I was watching Adonis Stevenson a couple of weeks ago in Montreal against DeBoris Cloud. You were calling the fight, Max. That was exactly my thought.
Exactly.
Up.
Salido landed one on the hip of Cruz, and you heard Kenny Bayless again saying up. Orlando Salido is flirting very closely now with the possibility of a one-point deduction for low blow. Cruz landed a hook, not with much effect. Salido fired a straight right hand and knocked it back.
He's starting to do what he did against Juanma, Salido, which is find his chin with single shots that are rocking him and changing the fight.
Low blow again.
Yet another low blow. Kenny Bayless let that one go.
No, he said something to him, Jim.
That's about the fourth time he said something. You begin to wonder when the point deduction might come. Arriba, keep him up.
Salido's got that long, tricky right hand that's very effective against the southpaw.
A good shot.
Uppercut by Cruz.
Yes. The most deadly punch Salido is throwing, he throws an overhand right like that and follows it with a mean left hook. A dangerous punch. From the southpaw position.
Stop. Watch the heads. Guys, touch up.
Orlando Cruz got a taste of Orlando Salido's head, actually got a piece of it with the top of his head. And you could almost hear Cruz thinking, okay, you want to hit me low? How about a butt?
Right, said what? What do you want? You want to fight dirty? Let's go.
Work out.
A lot of boxing stars in the ring tonight, and boxing stars at ringside. Nonito Donaire shooting photographs of the fight, has a photographer's credential. A working night for Donaire en route to his doubleheader appearance along with Mikey Garcia against Vic Darcinian November 9 in Corpus Christi on HBO. November 2, middleweight champ Gennady Golovkin tries to extend his knockout streak against Curtis Stevens. Check out photos like these on HBO's Instagram page. 1 week later, it is the triple header headlined by Rocky Martinez against rising star Mikey Garcia and the rematch between Nonito Donaire and Vic Darcinian.
Hit him on the left. Keep your hands up. Keep your guards up. Always up.
CompuBox totals through 3 rounds. Salido 41 of 145. Cruz 35 out of 121. The big difference, 39 of Salido's landed punches are power shots, and the majority of Cruz's landed punches are jabs. Harold Letterman, how do you have it through 3?
Okay, Jim, I got a 3-0, 30-27, Orlando Salido. You know, Jim, he's landing the harder, cleaner shots. A lot of them are on the waistband, but even still, he's chasing them around the ring and landing real good hard shots. On the other hand, Cruz is sort of flicking out jabs and running, you know, he's on his bicycle constantly. I got to say something about what Max said. Max is 100% right. The rule is a low blow is below the belly button, but you can't see the belly button. They got to change that rule and make it below the waistband, not the belly button.
Orlando Salido is beginning to open up and beginning to land right-hand shots freely against Orlando Cruz.
And Cruz really took 2 big punches.
And Cruz is countering well, but this is what Salido does when he's at his best. And Salido, as a professional, has achieved on a higher level than Cruz.
Cruz is countering, but feather-fisted compared to the hard shots that Salido is throwing and landing.
It's what he did against Juanma. He changes the fight with timing on those long right hands that rock his opponent back. Salido does.
Now driving his right hand to the center of the belly of Cruz, trying to bring Cruz's guard down so he can throw upstairs like that. And he lands 2 more right hands. And things are not going well for Orlando Cruz in the 4th round. He's getting hit hard by right hands for Orlando Salido.
Yeah, he's getting zinged by some right hands, and he doesn't have the power on his punches to keep Salido off of him.
Which makes his determination in this fight obvious. He does not have the same kind of artillery, and he has not stopped trying to win and fire back.
Now he's after
a good
Salido.
combination there.
Yeah.
And there's some blood outside the left eye of Orlando Salido, which could have come from the clash of heads or conceivably from one of Cruz's right hooks.
Oh.
Another thunderous right hand shot by Salido. Uppercut lands for Salido.
And a low blow by Cruz.
Cruz is taking these shots pretty well, but he's getting hit way too often.
Yeah, hell of a fight so far.
Salido is throwing some very serious punches, son.
Yes, he is. And it just doesn't appear that Cruz has enough firepower to keep Salido off him if things keep going this way.
He's trying, though, and he's offsetting him a lot with that jab of his. Cruz is.
Yeah, what I see from Cruz is when he gets rocked by one of those bombs from Salido, he grits his teeth, gets in his face, and fires one or two back of his own, like right there.
Good straight left hand by Cruz. Maybe his best punch of the night. So there's no quitting Orlando Cruz. Well into the fourth round, but Orlando Salido is mounting the offensive damage up with his right hand. And still to come the main event, Timothy Bradley now getting his hands wrapped in the dressing room. His trainer, Joel Diaz, talks fast, works fast. Bradley always calm, looking over his shoulder as his hands are wrapped. Down the hall, Juan Manuel Marquez looks at a television monitor, observing what's going on in this fight as he bounces on his feet, begins to work his hands back and forth. Already fully wrapped by Nacho Beristain. 40 years old, Juan Manuel Marquez looking for another night of glory to match the kind of glory he enjoyed back in December. Fourth round was a very active round for both fighters. Salido was 31 of 80. 29 of those landed punches were power shots. Cruz was 18 out of 57. 10 of his landed punches were jabs. See if Orlando Cruz can come up with a wrinkle to change the progression of the fight.
I think without coming up with a wrinkle, he did find something in the fourth where he cut Salido and was a little bit more aggressive in his counters, Jim, at the end of the round. Still lost the round, still took a beating, but gave some back.
Needs to find a way to turn all this commitment by Salido into overcommitment.
Yeah, when Cruz gets off first, he seems to do better in the fight. But when he waits on Salido, he doesn't do so well.
Watch the hits, watch the hits, watch the hits.
What's the point in waiting? You're just going to get hit by a straight right hand.
Or something worse.
Or a body shot.
Good upper shot by Cruz.
Right hand uppercut worked well again. Second time in the fight, he's caught Salido flush with that punch. Cruz managing distance well there. Salido couldn't quite reach him with the big right hand. Salido, after all the early warnings from Kenny Bayless, has managed to keep his body punches up the last couple of rounds.
When Cruz drops his hands and starts doing that stuff with his shoulders, he's trying to rev himself up, but really all he's doing is leaving himself open, and it usually doesn't go well for him when he does it right.
No, it doesn't go too good for him. Another low blow.
Cruz is doing just a little better now at timing Salido's right hand and rolling away from it.
Yeah, he's showing extreme confidence too, Jim. I think it's his posture that's causing him to do better in the fight now. He's not out here like the guy that's getting beat. He's actually acting like the guy that's in control. And I think that's saving
throwing to the body.
Like that.
Good right hand shot by Cruz, and he steps up for a combination. I agree with you, Jones. His confidence is growing.
Started seeing it at the end of the last round, and it's continued here.
And if you were looking for a round as a scorer to give to Cruz, that might have been it. There's Gennady Golovkin. November 2 on HBO against Curtis Stevens in the small room at Madison Square Garden. The Kazakh middleweight star will be looking for his 15th consecutive knockout win against a guy who is a big knockout puncher in his own right. What a smile.
You're losing the opportunities. You get to throw in your hands. Work hard, man. When you go in, work the body. It's yours there. The white one. Quickly. Hit him here. Keep pressing.
CompuBox numbers in round 5. Salido was 18 of 63. Cruz was 17 out of 56. Cruz seemed a little bit more commanding, a little more sure of himself, and a little bit more in control of the action through that 5th round. Logic tells you if it slows down a little bit, that might be in his favor. He's accustomed to fighting at a slower pace than Orlando Salido.
Salido's acting like that little cut over his left eye is really bothering him, Roy. That little up jab drove him back to the corner.
Yeah, I think they collided heads again, Max, and every time they hit heads, he acts like he's completely frustrated about it, whereas Cruz is not paying any attention.
Well, interestingly, his fight against Mikey Garcia came to an end when their heads came together and he broke Garcia's nose badly with the top of his head. But it wasn't he who was hurt by that exchange, it was Garcia.
There, Cruz doing a better job than he was earlier in the fight, absorbing a right hand, but then making Salido miss all the follow-ups.
And the thing I think is bothering Salido the most is that when he hit one mile with these type punches, it showed effects. He's not really showing any effects when he hits Cruz with it, because Cruz's legs are not buckling. Cruz just takes them, smiles, and keeps moving.
Cruz momentarily cornered by Salido, but gets away. Continuing to use his footwork and increasingly seeming to frustrate Salido. Now Salido gets back to the body with that hard right hand shot. And another body shot, and 2 more. And now Cruz firing back upstairs to try to back him up. More body punches from Salido.
That's some good action right there. Salido ferocious to the body and Cruz countering to the head.
A good upper shot by Salido.
Salido has devoted himself to going back to that body attack here in round number 6, and he is firing some withering ribcage shots at Orlando Cruz.
Ribcage and uppercuts, Jim. He's hitting with some beautiful uppercuts with both hands, but Cruz taking it all like a champ.
It's as though Salido decided at some point in this round, okay, just go into machine mode, start moving those hands to the body.
He may have listened to his corner because his corner told him to apply the pressure right before he went back out.
Thunderous right hand shots by Salido, banging away at Cruz's body in this round.
Cruz is going to have to figure out some way to dissuade Salido from this, as he did in the late 4th and throughout the 5th round.
Well, as round 6 comes to a close, one of the questions about the upcoming main event is Timothy Bradley damaged goods after his all-out brawl with Ruslan Provodnikov March 16 of this year? If you didn't see it, here's a look back at what took place in Carson, California, when Bradley waded into combat in the 1st round and fought Provodnikov's fight all the way through. Bradley was on the canvas in the 1st round. Pat Russell didn't rule that a knockdown. He was knocked down officially at the end of the 12th round, and there were exchanges like that throughout the fight in which the Russian was sometimes getting the best of Bradley because they were fighting essentially Provodnikov's fight. This is what he's accustomed to. Timothy Bradley had never fought like that in a professional prize fight before, but chose to do it. And that's the action toward the end of the 12th round when Bradley ultimately went to a knee. At this point, there were no more than 10 or 15 seconds remaining in the fight. He made it to the bell and won a unanimous decision. Punch Zone shows us that so far in the fight, Orlando Cruz has landed exactly 6 body punches against Orlando Salido, according to CompuBox count, whereas Cruz has been touched 64 times to the body by Salido. Normally that means Salido is on the way to a win. Harold Letterman, how do you have it through 6?
Okay, Jim, I've got it 5 rounds to 1. 59-55, Orlando Salido. Jim, I gotta tell you, Orlando Salido does something that I ain't seen in a long time. He puts his hooks underneath Orlando Cruz's elbows. He always aims that hook under the elbow. You see, right there, the left hook goes under the elbow. That's why it goes a little bit low once in a while, but he does it constantly, and he does it beautifully. 5-1, Orlando Salido.
Oh. Down goes Cruz after a 1-2 by Salido, and it does not look as though he's going to have tremendous interest in getting up. And Kenny Bayless has stopped the fight.
Even though Cruz got knocked out, he made the right choice there. Salido was starting to steamroll him. He realized if he had any chance to win the fight, he had to make a stand to stop Salido from just running roughshod. He made his stand, it wasn't good enough, and he got knocked out, but he did not spend the second half of this fight running away and avoiding a fight, simply to avoid a beating. He tried to win, and that's what happened.
Boy, Jones, I think it was the accumulation of body punches in the last 2 rounds that ultimately took Cruz out of this.
Yeah, the accumulation of body shots started to slow him down. He didn't have any real power in his punches in return to do anything to Salido's power. So therefore, Salido kept his power throughout the entire fight, and that made him a dangerous fighter from round 1 until it ended.
So Orlando Salido has another foothold in the featherweight division, and he may become the next opponent for Vasyl Lomachenko.
He see an overhand right, beautiful overhand right thrown by Salido. Kept his chin tucked, followed by a left uppercut, and that's the punch that's been causing the most damage all night. But that shot landed when Salido was on the way, when Cruz was on the way down. Once again, he comes in low with that head, throws a beautiful overhand right, followed by a left upper shot on the way down. Very rarely do you see a guy recover from a shot like that. Because he's already hurt from his first power shot. Then this little shot right here just taps him to make sure the job is done.
The stronger, harder hitting, more commanding physical fighter ultimately gets the TKO win. Let's go to Michael Buffer with the particulars.
Ladies and gentlemen, the end comes at 1 minute and 5 seconds. Round number 7, the winner by knockout victory, and he is now WBO featherweight champion of the world, the Ciudad Obregón, Sonora, Mexico, Orlando, Salido.
CompuBox numbers in this one. And Salido winds up landing 40 more, throwing 87 more, landing at a slightly higher connect percentage. And by and large, throughout the fight, he was landing the harder punches. Notice that of the 131 landed punches for Salido, 126 of them were power shots. He throws the lowest percentage of jabs, the highest percentage of power punches, just about any significant fighter you'll see in the sport. That's been his pattern throughout his career. Punch zone, and once again, look at the body shot statistic. 6 body shots in the whole fight for Cruz, and 67 of them landed for Salido. He used that big right hand, which has been his primary weapon throughout his career, this time to beat another southpaw. And so that's 3 down, and only the main event to go here at the Thomas & Mack Center in Las Vegas. As you just saw, the confrontation between Orlando Cruz of Puerto Rico and Orlando Salido of Mexico, which ended up in the favor of Salido because of all those hard right-hand shots to the body and to the head. Third loss of Cruz's career. Another win for Salido that might put him in position for bigger things.